What's up, guys? Today I wanted to revisit the LG G8 real quick, and mostly because the price has came down significantly on this phone. You can see it's at 141 right now. The last time we covered this phone, it was like maybe around the 2 something, 230 something. So that's a pretty nice price drop for anybody in that like $100 to $150 price range. To get a phone like this that's just super powerful under 200 bucks is a pretty good deal even in 2022. Now, as so far we haven't seen any updates on this phone to get the Android 12 update. So far it's just been the V60 and the Velvet. LG did say they were going to update the V50, but I feel like we should get the update for the G8 as well too. If the V50 is going to get it, it is on LG's list. But regardless of whether it gets the update, for this price point of like 141, I think it's still a pretty good deal here. So one of my favorite things about the G8 is actually the build quality and the size of this phone. So this is kind of a smaller phone here. It's really easy to one hand. Also very slippery phone as well too. As you can see, it has no camera bump, which is something that I really love. It still gives it a really clean and classy look even in 2022. That's something that I've always really appreciated about this design here. So completely flat back, which is something that I really like. So the build quality, it is a glass and metal design. It's IP68 dust and water resistant. Like I said, it feels extremely good in the hand. This phone and the LG G7 are two of my favorite phones to actually just hold and feel. These phones really never get uncomfortable for me. As you can see, your physical fingerprint scanner on the back here works flawlessly as well too. And overall, I still really like the design on this phone. So as far as the display, this is also another really awesome thing with this phone. This phone has an awesome display still in 2022. So not only is it a really nice size, but it also has a 6.1 inch POLED display, and it's a full 1440p display. So it's a very high resolution display with 564 for the PPI. So extremely sharp when you're watching videos at 1440p, or if you're just playing video games or whatever you're doing. It is a really high resolution display, which is something that I've always loved about this phone. Yes, the notch looks a little bit outdated in 2022, of course, but if you can get over that, I mean, it is a really beautiful display. Colors are super vibrant. It gets pretty bright outdoors as well too. I never struggled to, look. And like I said, icons and everything just extremely sharp. It looks like somebody painted these icons on the display. It's really nice looking. And as far as like, I get these questions like, does the notch, is it like too much? It depends. Like, just like the iPhone's notch, you kind of get used to it after a while. And I think most people watch videos like this, so you're not even, the notch is really not intrusive. But if you do like zoom in a lot, then of course this notch is still not as big as the iPhone's notch, which is pretty funny. So yeah, so I think the display on here is fine. I don't think the notch is bothersome. There's also a setting in the software where you can actually hide the notch if you really don't like it. But other than that, I really do like the display and build quality on this phone still. Now, to cover performance on this phone, the LG G8 has the Snapdragon 855 chip and the Adreno 640. It also has micro SD card support, 128 gigs of internal storage, 6 gigs of RAM, and UFS 2.1 storage. So as far as performance, this phone actually will still beat pretty much any mid-ranger out there, most mid-rangers at least, I could say. As far as gaming performance, if you check out my gaming test video I did on this phone, PUBG, Fortnite, Call of Duty all run just crazy good on this phone. You can play pretty much still any game at high settings. So if you're a gamer on a budget and you want something that is going to give you just great performance for under 150 bucks, the LG G8 is also another good option. Like I said, extremely comfortable to use as well too, as far as gaming goes. It's not too big, it's not too small. I think it's a really nice sweet spot if you have smaller hands. As far as the other features go, as far as the LG skin on here, like I said, once this phone gets the Android 12 update, we'll revisit it. But as far as like, just general performance on this phone, it's still pretty speedy. I've never had an issue with performance on this phone as far as bouncing in and out of applications. I always thought this phone was a really speedy phone. as far as just bouncing in and out of stuff. So I do want to go ahead and talk about some additional features with this phone, which I think is definitely a really awesome thing, is the headphone jack with the quad DAC. So this phone does have a headphone jack with a quad DAC on it. And if you really wanted to use this phone just as an MP3 player, since really, honestly, not a lot of phones have the quad DAC these days. I think Sony or Asus has a couple flagships or just one flagship, but those phones are really expensive. You can get a quad DAC, get some really high quality audio listening out of this phone if you have a really good pair of headphones as well too, which I think is really awesome. So this phone also has, like I said, IP68 dust and water resistant as well. It does have wireless charging on board too, which is really nice. So it has a lot of the flagship features that we've all come to know and love. It has NFC on here as well too, as your screen sharing on here, which works pretty well too. You do have your, like I was saying earlier, your physical fingerprint scanner, but this phone also has extremely good Face ID on here as well too. So it's really, really good. It's not just like the regular Android, Face Unlock. They actually do have some really nice tech in here, so it's super secure as far as the Face Unlock goes. So let's go ahead and talk about the image quality on this phone. So the cameras on this phone actually still are extremely good. If you guys look at these stills, you have a 12 megapixel standard and then a 16 megapixel ultra wide. It shoots in 4K 60, and then you have an 8 megapixel selfie cam. The image quality still looks pretty good on here. You actually get some really nice coloring with the LG G8 as far as like giving you true to life, images as far as the color goes, which is something that I've always really appreciated about the image processing on here. I think shots still come out really solid, especially for $150. I think you're getting an above average camera. So what you would pay on the market for $150 would not be anywhere near close to as good as the quality of this camera, I think, especially in good lighting. This is still taking some excellent shots as far as photos go. So I'm still impressed just, coming back and looking at the shots. Even if I look at some of the newer phones out right now, this still does take some really solid images. So that's definitely one thing that I really like, and you guys should be seeing some video as well too. I thought video was still pretty solid on here. So still a really great photo taker as well too. I don't think that's age really on this phone. I think photos still look really solid on here. Alright guys, we are on the LG G8 here. Again, it's to my voice, it's to the mic. And on the G8 we can do the ultra wide video, get way more in the shot. Let's go ahead and get close up. Now, what I think will surprise a lot of you guys is that the battery life is actually still pretty solid on here. This phone has a 3,500 milliamp battery on here. You have 21 watt fast charging, and then you have wireless charging at 9 watts. Basically, I'm able to squeeze 6 hours of screen on time out of this phone, which is pretty nice. So this is technically an all-day phone, even though you would think it would have, since it has kind of like a smaller battery for 2022, it still is able to squeeze out 6 hours of screen on time. So battery life is actually pretty solid on here. So I think this is a great device, even if you don't want to use it as your main device. It's a great MP3 player. And like I said, it's really, you can still use this as a main device. It's just a solid phone. It's just that we need to see if LG is going to keep up with the updates, because we're not sure if this is going to get the Android 12. They haven't really mentioned it. But like I was saying, they didn't mention that the V60 was going to get Android 12, and then it just popped up and got it, right? So we don't know. So I think the LG G8, this is definitely a steal for $141. You're getting above, what you would get for that price point. If you were to get a budget phone, or even if you got a mid-range phone, you're still getting way more power, beautiful display, quad DAC, I think really solid cameras, and really good build quality. So be sure to let me know, what do you guys think, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.